Let me ask you this question very specifically. What informed your decision on the 14th of August last year when you decided not to hand over those first 5 commercial banks to the NDIC as part of the distress resolution, whether to move in some NDIC officials to become interim managers, as had happened in the case of Savannah Bank, Spring Bank in the past, and you decided to just inject money, chase out the bad guys, as it were, bring in professional bankers to run it without using that option of NDIC as an interim manager with what you may call intended or unintended consequences?
Well, the NDIC option is always the lazy option and it's the easiest one. A bank has been mismanaged, bad loans have been given, money has been taken out of the banks. You find out, instead of confronting the powerful people that were responsible for that, you simply declare the bank a failed bank, depositors lose their money, Nigerians commit suicide, people lose all their life savings, and the bank MDs and directors and borrowers come out next year, they become governors and senators and ministers. Now that is the easy option, but it is also the wrong one. The correct option is to remember that people kept their money in those banks because we gave those banks a license, and we have a responsibility for doing everything we can to make sure that people don't lose their money. And the only way that could be done was for the government to put in money to plug the hole, make sure that everybody who had money in those banks got his money, and then try to do everything in our power to recover that money. And that means going after the debtors who had taken the money and not paid back, and going after anybody that we suspected of criminal activity to go for forfeiture and disgorgement.
You set out on this journey, as it were, almost like a lone ranger. But right now, you seem to be having a lot of support on the other side of the street. In other words, the Securities and Exchange Commission and other supervisors seem to have catch up with your catchphrase of regulatory leadership, the need for corporate governance and all that. So you feel a lot more comfortable that what you're doing right now is not just in the banking sector, but the entire financial sector reform, as well as getting the economy back on track.
Well, these things I have always said are not personal and should never be personalized. The issues we're dealing with in the banking industry and the issues we're dealing with in the country are issues that as a nation we must confront at some point in our history if we want to move forward. Now, we can choose to confront them now and deal with them, or we can choose, as usual, to water them down and walk back and walk away, and our children will deal with those issues. 10 years from now, if we don't deal with these issues, the next governor of Central Bank, the next DG of SEC will be dealing with those issues. So my view has always been that we have a historic opportunity to deal with these matters once and for all, so that we can move forward as a country. If we delay that, in 10 years, we'll be exactly where we are. Maybe we'll have taken 2 steps back. So I'm happy that we have Aruma in SEC. I'm happy that there's a new sense of direction, and I think Nigerians have all understood that we've got to do things properly. We can grow an economy, we can grow a very strong banking system. The fundamentals and the outlook remain very strong, but none of this will survive if we do not build it on a foundation of professionalism, ethics, fairness, and transparency.
One of your key pillars for the second phase of the reform is to get the banks to be responsive to the overall economy, and to do this you need to work very closely with the finance ministry. What's your relationship with this very important government agency?
Well, to be honest, I have never had any issue dealing with ministries, and everything I have done has been done in collaboration and cooperation with the ministers of finance. I had an excellent relationship with Dr. Master Mukhtar. I have a good relationship with Mr. Aganga on all important issues. I make sure they're fully briefed. On the banking reforms, Dr. Mukhtar was carried along on every major decision. He understood what we were doing. Obviously, because those things were confidential discussions at some points, they were never discussed publicly. But on the AMC bill, we've worked with finance. As I speak to you, there is an implementation committee that has been set up. It has central bank, it has finance, it has SEC, it has NDIC, working on all the technical details as far as assets, valuations, M&A, regulatory processes are concerned. And we work with agencies reporting to finance in FSRCC, which we have revived. We've got SEC, we've got NDIC, we've got NICOM, constantly meeting with us every 2 months here in the central bank. Just this morning, I had a long conversation with DG SEC. As you know, we're cooperating on the capital market investigations and the violations of Securities and Investments Act. We set up a joint task So in terms of cooperation, we continue to work together.
Finally, congratulations. Yesterday, the National Assembly put the final pen and paper on the AMC. Where do we go from here?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do we go from here now that we're getting the president?
Yes, well, actually, there's one slight step left. The House of Reps passed the harmonized bill. It was late before the Senate, and the Senate will only approve it on its first meeting on the 22nd. But it's good enough because in the interim, anyway, a number of parallel initiatives are going on the technical side, on the valuations. The due diligence on the banks is going on. We expect that to be concluded early in July. So all in all, I think we're still on course for resolving the banking issues within the third quarter of the year.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Governor, for being part of the program this morning. Lamidi Sanusi, the Governor of Nigeria's Central Bank. But let's return very quickly now to the studio here with Lance Elakamah, the immediate past Assistant Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Thank you very much, sir, for sticking in with us. I'm sure you were listening in on the sidelines as to some of those discussions. But let's look at it. Give us a sense of everything you've heard from Lamidi Sanusi a few minutes ago.
Well, Boason, I'm saying, I want to say that we are not being fair to me. I didn't know he was watching the program. How do you now want me to criticize him? He's my friend and my Muslim brother. I will just say it's good. But anyway, I will not do that because I know him very well. For himself, he will say what he wants, what he has to say. He's a man that say what he wants to say, the way it is. Many people don't really know Lamido very well. Lamido very well. People think when he was appointed governor, for example, I think he made a comment that the government should reduce their 7-point agenda to about 2 or 3. I don't know. That was said to the president. My friend said, this man will lose his job. I said, no, he will not lose his job. Because the man that the president knows him very well, the kind of person he is. If you read some of his articles before he became governor, the one I read, one was when he was AGM UBA. A paper he delivered at Arewa conference in Kaduna, I think so. He was telling them what they didn't want to hear. That the kind of person he is. So I will still say what I have to say because he will do the same thing. In this kind of like I said, it's very easy to criticize somebody that is not doing well. He's doing well. He has done by and large, he has done very well. But I won't just be so simplistic. I want to take the policies one by one and look at the way they have impacted on the economy. Some of them, yes, are good. Most of them are well-intentioned, but maybe they need to be fine-tuned here and there so that there's synergy in all of this.